It started, and Nischal, that's your cue to proceed in like another 2 minutes once everyone joins.
We're on, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll just wait for 2 minutes and let people join in. I assume people have, at least from Mithibai, have just gotten done with lectures. So let's just wait for 2 minutes and uh, wait for them to join in, then we start off with this conclave.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणां वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
All right. Good morning, everybody. A very positive note to start this morning with. We've just taken the blessings of the Almighty before we start off with what promises to be a very exciting day, an insightful day, a lot of interesting conversations that are going to be taking place. A very warm welcome. Good morning, and a very warm welcome to this conclave that we have for you. It's one of a kind, and Mithibai Students Council has really worked hard to put this up. So big ups to the entire Students Council for actually making this happen. I know that we are still stuck at home. The cases are still rising outside, but I think this is a brilliant way to get people together and to talk about topics that have never been spoken before. So a great job by Mithibai Students Council. Thank you to everybody who's joined us online on YouTube. We are streaming this live, and a huge thank you to our panelists for making this for this conclave. Thank you so much to the four of you. Before we start off, I would like to invite the pillar of our college, someone who has always been there for us right from the start. And it was her view also to actually make this conclave happen. And it's because of her blessings and her guidance that we've actually been able to put this in place. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please give a huge round of applause for our principal, ma'am, Dr. Kritika Desai.
Sorry, there is some issue with the PC. I'll just 2 minutes, students.
No problem, ma'am. No problem.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see you.
Yeah. All right. Good morning to all. Good morning to student council members, faculty who have joined, vice principal, and panelists. Very warm welcome to all who are present on a virtual platform. I'm really impressed by a different way of presenting or conducting a, we can say, annual day or annual days. So yesterday we had nice musical evening. It was really de-stressing. Today we are going to have a conclave. Now this conclave, we have the excellent panelists and from the different area. We have one environmentalist, environment activist. We have CA rank holders who is training or giving many of the lectures for the competitive exams. We have TEDx speaker. We have civic right advocate. So all these are part of our overall development of our students. So it is not only the books. In books we are learning. We are here to train, and Mithibai always believe in a holistic education. So this conclave is in a very right way, or in a right direction, I can say, sensitizing the students for the overall development. Yes, environment is a big concern. Those who are doing a fantastic environment awareness work, it is very, very good. And and in fact, it is our duty, our teachers' duty, to sensitize the students. And this student council, they have taken this initiative. That is fantastic. Also, we have the trainer for the competitive exams. In fact, I have to tell all the students that we have taken a serious note of the competitive exams. And in our college, we are going to start a center for the competitive exams. That we have observed that many of our students are not participating in competitive exams, or rather the state of Maharashtra, many of the students are not participating in competitive exams, and we have really taken a serious note about it. In fact, Dr. Mahesh Bhagwat is really working towards it, and he is training students. And here we have one speaker. So that will give an idea to a large number of the students' fraternity. We have a TEDx speaker who is an engineer. Many times we hear them on the TEDx platform. So here we are going to hear we are going to hear him here on our Mithibai College platform. That's fantastic. And I congratulate and I to the student council, teachers, students, and I wish everyone all the best. And I request all the students to take a maximum benefit of this and just understand what they say and what is required in today's time. It is not only a classroom. Yes, we are strict about the attendance, but in addition to the attendance, we have to see the overall development. And I request all the students to take maximum benefit of it. They can ask queries, they can, whatever is there later on also, they can definitely get connected with the speakers, and they can get connected with us. We will give you a platform, we will solve queries, and we will give you the best of the education. So I wish you all the best, and we can start the conclave, because all are eagerly waiting for the guest, not for principal.
No, that's not true, ma'am. I think your words have always been a source of inspiration for all of us. And thank you for guiding us yet again. And thank you for conveying your wishes. Yes, indeed, it's going to be a path-breaking conclave for all of us, because it is something that it needs to be spoken about at this point of time. And it is very, very important. It's the need of the hour. So thank you so much, Principal Ma'am. Up next, I would like to call upon our Vice Principal Ma'am, Dr. Anjali Patkar, to say a few words. Ma'am, if you could please.
Good morning
Good morning.
to all those who are on this virtual platform. After yesterday's musical evening, today we are going to have this interesting conclave. I just want to compliment the Students' Council team for organizing such a conclave in this pandemic situation online. And even I do not wish to waste much of your time, and have a nice conclave ahead and enjoy your college days and the annual days. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anjali, ma'am. Thank you so much for always being there. Once again, good morning, everybody, to everybody who's just joined in. We're going to begin with the conclave now, and it promises to be a very exciting event, an eye-opener for all of us in the real sense. And I hope that you take a lot of value and a lot of learnings out of it. Yesterday, as ma'am said, was a musical evening for us to just relax and chill and spend time with our family members. We had a brilliant band playing for us. Day before that, we had the Instagram live with Vivek Oberoi. We also had the Carnival Day. We have the Thanksgiving Day now ahead and the annual day on the 20th. So this is what is in store for all of us. And this council week, the Students' Council Week, has always been one of the special events every year that all the students look forward to. Had it been offline, would have been on the back gate clicking pictures with our friends, but that is not possible right now. So let's just make complete use of what we have in hand. It is now time for me to introduce four panelists for today. They are, of course, extremely insightful, and we're going to be talking about various topics. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist for today is a renowned trainer, CA rank holder, YouTuber, lecturer, and mentor for several national and international competitive exams. I'm not saying much because I want them to do the talking today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Ashwini Bajaj. Sir, if you could just wave to our audience. And all right, there he is. Thank you so much for being a part of it, sir. It really means a lot to us. Up next, we have a young environmentalist and the founder of Beach Please. He's been awarded the Volunteer for Change Award by UN India and has also been felicitated by the UN Environmentalists. Please clap your hands for our next panelist, Malhar Kalambe. Malhar, if you could just wave again to our audience.
Hi, Nishal. Thank you for having us today.
It's indeed a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, Malhar. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, our third panelist is a climate activist. He is also a graphic designer, TEDx speaker, Red Hat certified engineer, a certified ethical hacker, and a blogger. In the year 2012, he set up the Golden Bird Foundation, which enables the underprivileged children to gain education for free. It is a very noble cause. And with this, I want you to please give it up for Akash Ranison, our third Conclave panelist. Akash, thank you so much for being here with us. All right. Our fourth panelist for today is a civic right advocate. He is the founder of Mark Your Presence. He's been awarded by the UN India and felicitated by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. He's also been a TEDx speaker. Such insane achievements at a young age. Please give it up for our final and our fourth panelist, Chaitanya Prabhu. Chaitanya, thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
It's indeed a pleasure. To all four of you, thank you once again for taking out the time and doing this for us. Akash, we know that you're not in town. You're out of town, and we actually heard you talking. So thank you once again. It really means a lot. Thank you for actually taking out the time and deciding to guide our students the right way. I think this conversation is really going to go a very long way. Well, I have done my talking. I would request our panelists to start one by one with their opening addresses. First up, we have Mr. Ashwini Bajaj. So over to you.
It's a pleasure to be here. And to start with, basically, the students today have a lot of misguidance going on. That is one challenge the kids are fighting today. So I've been interacting with students over the last 7 years, actually more than 7 years now. And what you need to understand is that the markets, I mean, I'll talk from a finance perspective. So when you're looking at the markets are changing a little too quickly. So whether be it COVID, whether be it demonetization or GST or the number of events that are happening, it's a bit too dynamic. So what you need to understand is how the market, how the economy, how the education space as well is changing. You have to keep track with that. That is one very important aspect that students need to start understanding. And the next thing is that you cannot change everything through technology. That is also something that students have to understand today. The problem is that you will not be able to just simply apply technology to everything because studying has to be traditional. I see students today, they want to study on the phone for 5 minutes in a auto ride or a cab ride or something. It does not happen that way. You need 2, 3, 4 hours of continuous focus when you're actually studying. You cannot have breaks after every 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So there's a lot of misuse of technology as well when kids are studying today. So and when you're looking at the space, in terms of finance, in terms of economics, in terms of commerce management, there's a lot of change that is happening. So that is one thing students need to understand. There are a lot of good things that is happening around with you guys in terms of access to technology that you guys have today. So we'll take up all these questions as we move forward with the conclave. And over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that opening address. There's a lot to come in the conversation that we have later on. Up next, Malhar, if you could have your opening address as well.
Firstly, I would like to appreciate the efforts taken by the Mithibai Student Council, the faculty, and all the members, for arranging this conclave. I think such conclaves play an effective tool in basically, sensitizing the students, making them aware about the things that are happening right now. And I think the COVID pandemic has really made us understand how important and it is to basically conserve the environment and how importance it has in our life. So, firstly, congratulations, and we'll take forward the conversation. The basic thing I would like to highlight in this entire conclave is basically balancing between your personal life and your professional life. That if you dream of something, however big it might be, you can achieve it.
Absolutely. I think straight up words from the man himself. Thank you, Malhar. Thank you so much. Up next, Akash, if we could have your opening address to our audience as well. Akash, you're on mute. If you could just unmute yourself once. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. So yeah, I hope you can hear me now. Cool. Perfect. So this is not one way of success, right? And whichever way you choose, for sure, it's never written anywhere a rule that, okay, this way of success, you go on it and you'll get success in one go. You will fail a number of times, and then eventually you'll come to a place where you are perfect, and then you'll be able to make it through. So hence, like, I never went to any college, right? You have the opportunity to be in a guided atmosphere where people who have done things in life can guide you through and then can help you achieve your dreams. So how does it work? Like, how could I manage to do it? Because of one guru, that is Swami Vivekananda, right? So I didn't get to go to the college, but I could get a teacher who can teach me things and make me capable of achieving things. So that's what I would say, that to start with, my note would be that whatever position you are in, it's a good position. You just have to look for the right person who you can trust on and can follow the leads. So not that I have several different teachers to tell me what is right, what is wrong, but I had one guru, which is Swami Vivekananda, and I trusted on him blindly when he said, "You have no fear, always say you're a hero." I just believed on this one line. I did not go back to him and doubted his words. He said once, I followed it, and I could make it through.
Absolutely. I think to all the people who are giving excuses in today's age about the various resources that they don't have, about things they are not, I think they should really be grateful and consider those things that they really have, and they should be really grateful about it. So thank you so much for that opening address, Akash. Well, up next, I would like to call upon Chaitanya to give his opening address as well.
Thank you so much for having me here. I would like to take the platform to thank the Mithibai College for having me here, the principal and the president of the Student Council, Arshia Virji, for arranging this conclave. Since this conclave revolves around leadership, I would like to bring about a fact that APJ Abdul Kalam spoke about a couple of years ago. He said that leadership is all about, when success reaches us, this is all about the leader giving it to the team, and when failure prevails, taking it on himself. And that's the fundamental principle that I've been following, and that helps you in every process. Over to you. We'll be talking about how we could strengthen Indian democracy and build a stronger democracy. Thank you.
100%. Thank you. Thank you so much for that opening address. As they say, one for all and all for one. We always believe in teamwork, and I think that's a wonderful opening address to start with. Let's begin with the questions. I hope the audience has sort of had a background of all our panelists. I just gave their introductions. They spoke for themselves as well. We'll start off with our questions. My first question being to Akash. Akash, we know that you are an environmental activist, and we also know that you are a passionate cyclist. You love to cycle. So do I. And to someone who loves actually going out in nature every single day. In this lockdown, we've all been stuck at home. How was it actually staying at home and not being able to close to Mother Nature? How does it feel?
Okay, so I tell you, 2020 has been the best productive year of my life. I have been so happy. I have been so productive. I have been doing so many things that whenever I call someone and if I really speak, and I really genuinely speak what's in my heart, if somebody asks, how is your day? I really mean it when I reply. I don't say, yeah, it's going good. What about you? No, I really say it out loud. And people didn't really like me much because I was always saying that my days are going very good. I'm so productive. I'm doing good. I'm doing this. I'm doing that every day. While even logged in my home, I had achievements every day. Okay, this day I'm doing these the three things. So my logic was very simple. Can I do anything about it? No. Right, that's it. So just use it the best way I can. And also me being this guy who is interested into physics, I really get fascinated by seeing earth on a map or different other planets, and I really get fascinated that how physics work. Why is it that I lose this, I like leave this pen and it drops on the ground? So gravity and everything really catches my attention and gives me that feel of a child who has a new toy. So for me, that's the reason I take interest into physics. Not that I'm a really sincere guy. I don't want to take this call. Like, I don't want to say anything about study in front of when Ashwini is there on this call. I have no relation with this study. I'm a very simple, happy guy. I'm a kid who find Earth and all of these things moving fascinating. I have no knowledge, no nothing at all. So it just no man, I can't really talk about education.
Right. I think
A huge college, so much of education, and then this another guy university in himself. I can't talk about education. Sorry.
Absolutely. But thank you for that answer, Akash. We see the books behind Ashwarya and Chaitanya just kind of gives us a complex as to the amount of knowledge that these guys have. And it's such a good opportunity to actually dive right into their minds. And my next question, of course, is going to be to Chaitanya. Chaitanya, we know that you are the founder of Mark Your Presence. What was the inspiration behind Mark Your Presence? What is it all about?
Perfect. The inspiration behind Mark Your Presence was everybody that's watching right now. Every single young person that we have that up in Mumbai and India, because 65% of India's population is young. We have 900 million voters, out of which 450 are young. And sadly, this population is not registering or going out to vote. Now, I did my education from Jamnabai Nursery School, which is very near to Mithibai College. And I realized that a lot of my friends were not registered to vote. So when we want to create change and probably create some impact in society, we need to start with our family and friends first. That's why the journey began of registering voters. And the success of the organization throughout is not that we've registered more than 15,000 voters. The success is that 15,000 voters went out, voted in an election, and chose the correct option because they are educated voters. So the inspiration is every young person. But if I were to pinpoint one person who's been like the inspirational force behind all this, it's my grandfather, because he's been a freedom fighter. He's 100+ years old. He's gone to jail. He's done everything for his country and his nation. So he serves as like the principal inspirational person behind the organization and me, and shaped me into the person that I am. But when we talk about it at a larger scale, it's everybody. So yeah.
Absolutely. I feel that, the saying absolutely holds true in this case. What runs in your genes, in your blood, is definitely passed on into the next generation. So I just feel that it's a wonderful platform for people. And, a lot of people might just take like the voting day as a public holiday, which we've always seen. It's perhaps this case is happening with a lot of people that I know. They just take this day as a holiday and they just want to sit at home and relax, and they just don't want to go out and vote. Whereas I think a basic fundamental right as a citizen should be to just go out and vote. I'm pretty sure, Chaitanya, you'll agree to what I say.
Absolutely. And what is more important is I take voting very seriously from that of the examination. I feel when you go out for an examination, you do prepare. You have to do the same for when you go out to vote, because it's almost the same. You cannot elect somebody without analyzing what is past is, what is present is. So I feel voting and voter education is something that should be embedded into the syllabus so that every voter selects and moreover elects the correct person in a democracy.
I don't think we could have perhaps put it in a better way. Thank you, Chaitanya. I'm pretty sure our authorities are also listening to this, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to inculcate some part of it. And I hope they do it, because as responsible citizens, this is our first duty. So thank you so much, Chaitanya. My next question is going to be to Malhar. Malhar, over this lockdown, I think we've all been grateful for the things that we have. Yes, we've always wanted to have the things that we don't, but I think being grateful for what you have, the resources you have, is something that we've all learned over this lockdown. So what I want to ask you is that what made you come up with the concept of beach please? Because I know that there were a lot of beaches, that were so severely polluted. There was a lot of garbage. I'm saying this because I'm a beach person myself. I go every day in the morning to Juhu, which is the closest to my house, and I see that it's getting so much better with every passing week. So what was the entire idea that came up with beach please?
So Nishal, I'll be very honest with this. I never thought of, cleaning the beaches or starting a youth movement, to clean up the beaches. Basically, it just happened by chance. I'd been to Bali in July 2017 for a vacation. When I came back from Bali, I was just walking on the beach one day, and the state in which I saw the beach really disturbed me and made me think hard. That why is there a difference between the beaches in Mumbai and the beaches abroad? So I went back home. I was having a conversation with my mother, and she was the one who really insisted and motivated me. That she said a simple thing. If you think the beach isn't clean, just go and clean it and stop complaining about it. And it was that simple. That single line, really motivated me to go and clean the beach. I called up my school friends. I told them, I'm planning to do a cleanup drive. Would you like to come and join me? Fortunately, I got a good response from them. 20 of my school friends turned up for the cleanup drive. So the first cleanup drive was basically a school reunion. We couldn't clean much of the trash because we did not have any knowledge about cleanups. But the whole experience was really satisfying for us. It made us happy in some way. So we thought of coming back, there the next weekend again. And it's been 162 weeks now. We've been going to the beaches and rivers and doing the cleanups. And this is how it started. So I always keep saying, that I never chose cleanups. The cleanups chose me. And that's how it started.
I think it's a great start, and perhaps start that I would actually want to be a part of. So I'm just going to connect to you after this conclave, and just, if there's any part that I can play in this, I would love to, because I said I'm a beach person myself, and I always want my beach to be perhaps the cleanest. We've seen it happening. The progress is tremendous, but I'm pretty sure there's always a long way to go. So thank you for that answer. Thank you so much, Malhar. My next question is to Ashwini. So you've been training people over different courses, and the number of courses that I actually read out in the bio, I just was blown away by the kind of knowledge that you have. And if I had to ask you, because the youth is so progressive in today's time, if there is one trait about the youth of today that really stands out according to you, what would it be? Something that is different from the youth that we had in the previous generations.
So in this aspect, I believe the confidence that today's kids have and the ability, the willingness to experiment. They want to question everything. At times, they don't question. I'll come to that part also. But the confidence that these guys have, because they have access to so much of probably the technology part, probably to so much of resources. Because if they want to grab a piece of Anand Mahindra's mind, they can just go on Twitter and they get that. So, the kind of access they have to everybody across the globe, and the connectivity and the access to technology. So, again, there's a lot of caveat when I'm stating this, because these kids think that they are very good with technology. But the moment it comes to a Microsoft Excel or to making a presentation, there is a lot of problem. So, technology in terms of phone is fine. I mean, the Candy Crush and all technology does not work. But the confidence is absolutely amazing that I see with the kids today. So, they are less conscious, I would say, or less inhibited in terms of reaching out to people, and they have a lot more exposure in terms of having access to so much of resources all across. So that is one thing, that the confidence and lack of inhibition. So they're very um, approaching, and they're experimenting, and these series and all this two beer and all this adds on to that. It gives them a lot more confidence and all. But along with, as I say, that there's a lot of caveats when I'm stating this. So along with the two beer here, for example, they also need to watch Silicon Valley. They need to understand the amount of perseverance required, the tackling the failures and all that aspect. So that also is required. Confidence cannot become overconfidence as well, because at times what happens is very superficial knowledge is there. They know upper say everything, but when you talk about getting into the depth of things, it becomes a challenge. But at the same time, if you channel this properly, the confidence they have and that ability to experiment, to take chances and all, that is absolutely amazing to see, which is very much required today, and which I believe, given the technology, given the evolution, if I could call it, or the way things are changing with time, I believe 20 years back it was not that available. So that is one thing according to me that I believe stands out. I just want to add on to the other couple of answers. So Chaitanya's answer, I got very distracted. Honestly, I started reading the books behind him, that which one have I read and which one I haven't. But extremely proud to be in a session, hearing about his grandfather. And with physics, actually, when Akash was mentioning about it, so I was able to relate to that aspect. Even Charlie Munger's book, if you read, if anybody is read, he's one of the best investors in time, Warren Buffett's partner. So if you read that, and you'll understand that there's a little requirement in terms of reading different disciplines. So I'm reading Richard Feynman's book right now. So I was able to connect with that. So it's great. So I would recommend the students also to read across multiple disciplines. And with respect to going out and voting, I would also want to add that's this is my personal opinion, that don't vote nota, because ultimately you have to take a decision in voting between the less bad option. I know we've got, like, I've seen so many students who are like, you've got such bad options, I don't want to vote, or if I go to vote, I'll just be voting nota. They have to go to vote because they have to post an Instagram photo and all. So that's like a mandatory for these kids today. But the point is, if you're voting nota, ultimately you're favoring the party which is, or the candidate which is more bad, who's worse. So you at least choose the person who's the better of the two bad candidates. At
True.
least do that. So the
Absolutely.
homework that he was talking about, Chaitanya, I think that homework is required.
True, absolutely. I think you're correct in every sense. And talking about the books that the two of you read, I think I've not been a fan of reading books, I will say, but I think I have to start reading, because the kind of knowledge that you have, I think it's
You
really
have to.
commendable. I think everybody has to at some point. You really gain a lot of knowledge. A lot of people say that yeah, pictures nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai. I think that's never a reason to actually not read a book. So please make sure that you take all these advices into consideration. And thank you so much, Ashmi sir, for that answer. Up next, I would like to move on to our topic a little bit now. Akash, I think over this pandemic, I feel the definition of success for a lot of people has changed, in the sense where people are just being more grateful for what they have, and if they feel that they're happy, I think for me, if I'm happy, I feel I'm successful at the same time. Do you think that the past year or so has really changed the definition of success for a lot of people?
Indeed, yes. I truly believe in that, and that's the reason that I shifted and I live most of my time in Himalayas, as in mountains, because I think we are mixing up happiness and success together. Happiness has nothing to do with success. That's a different thing. Like how are you doing in business? There are like, if you really can control your mind, you can lose in your business, you can lose your money in your stock market and come back home and still be happy. So these are two different things. But what we do is simply, let me tell you, okay, as an example, how I
I think his audios and his videos cracking up a bit, probably because of the network.
okay, but is it fine again now, or is it still the same?
Akash, yeah, now you're visible. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I was talking about success and happiness. Let me just tell you one thing, that why we are not happy most of the time. And I really want to communicate this to all of the students who are watching it, so that I can really like set you free to be happy whenever you want, and stop giving your happiness or locking your happiness somewhere else. For example, I see a watch. It's a very nice watch, very fancy. I see an advertisement, I'm like, oh, this is amazing watch, such amazing features. Now, what do? I'm already happy at this point of time while watching this advertisement. I say that I'll be happy when I have this watch. And that's it. As of now, I don't have this watch. So I my own, by myself, assign my happiness. And till the time I don't get it, I won't be happy. And we keep doing this every time. Every time when a company launches a phone out there, I'm like, oh, I'm assigning my happiness to this phone. The day I get it, I'll be happy. So when I get the phone back, I get my happiness back. Who gave my happiness to this phone? How did this phone has my happiness? Because I assign my happiness to this phone. So this is what we keep doing in our life. today we see things, and obviously like one good thing I really have is I don't live in cities, so I don't see these big fancy cars and new malls and new products, so I don't get to assign it. I don't watch TV. Whatever I am watching, I am controlling it. Like I choose to watch, so I end up on TED.com, I end up on TED channel on YouTube. So I know what I'm choosing. But when you're watching TV, when you're listening to radio, when you're listening or watching something which is not in your control, but more of a consumer-based platform, they show you things which you want to buy, end up, or you live in a city where you see so many fancy things, and then you assign your mind or your happiness to that thing, that I want to buy this. So one is, I want to tell you that please, can you take control of this? If you really want to be happy in life and you really want to get success in your life, you need to control your brain. You need to stay happy. If you're not happy, you can't focus on your success. You can't focus on your work. And obviously, if you're not focusing on your work, you can't be successful or be a leader, right? And leader is someone who leads. So in order to be a leader tomorrow, you have to start leading yourself today, right? But you're not in your own control. You are being controlled by the marketing agencies, by the fancy photos, by the amazing VFX and movies or advertises we see. So one thing I can say here is choose what you really want. If you don't really want it, don't go for it. Appreciate it. It's a very good watch, but I don't need it. I already have one. For example, I've been using this watch for 8 years now. Right? So do you really need it? The phone I'm using, that's not my phone. It's an iPhone 8, which my friend was not using anymore because she got a new phone. I said, hey, can I take your phone? And I just keep using this one, right? I own only 4 pairs of clothes. Like this is my only color shirt. All the other clothes I have are black. Because then again, confusion. Should I be wearing red, blue, black, green? Which one today? Because I'm like, I have so many options, but I'm like, what if I don't buy options? Right? So that's how I keep my life easy. Every device or everything I have is just black. Everything I own, my watch is black. So easy, like not 2 watches. Oh, this is a silver watch, doesn't go with my clothing. I should be wearing some other thing. So to keep things easy, that's what I do. So talk to yourself, get clarity. What is happiness and what is not?
I feel that, it's such a profound answer. What he said right now is, perhaps if I could just translate it, it's अगर आप अपनी खुशी का remote control किसी और के हाथ में दे दो, if it's an individual or a person, doesn't matter. But you shouldn't actually be bothered about what attracts you. Yes, if it's a good thing, appreciate it, but also know if you actually need it or you don't. So that discretion is very important. And sometimes I feel, Akash, I think meditation and everything really plays a very important role, because I personally believe in it, that it really helps you silence your inner voice, and that really actually does wonders. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's totally right. It's just like, again, to people, when you said meditation, yes, it is very good. But please don't take, to other people, don't take meditation as an, okay, you have to sit, close your eyes and make this posture and chant something. No, meditation can be listening to very good music as well and be peaceful and calm. And the best meditation anyone can do is talk to yourself. Know yourself more, communicate, which is the color you like. What is the language you prefer more comfortable into? What is the food you really enjoy? So the more the clarity you have in your mind, like, I know black is my color. I know I just want to watch, I need a watch to see the time and nothing else. And these kind of things. So you will be very clear and you won't be confused and misguided or attracted by a number of things. Then only you'll be able to say no to something new. Because, hey, I don't need this. Until you don't know what do you need, you don't know what you do not need.
Absolutely. I think self-talk is the best talk. And I really appreciate the answer that you just gave, Akash. I'm completely all in for it. I hope the audience is listening to this and gaining some value, because this conversation with such young people, and Ashwini sir being the youngest, is of course, it's so insightful in itself. And I'm really glad that we're getting the time to do this. My next question is to Chaitanya. Chaitanya, we've always seen that जब थोड़े लोग successful हो जाते हैं, I just feel that success gets to their head sometimes. And we've seen this happen with a lot of people. How important is it to actually stay grounded if you want to be successful even further?
I think the most important fact is how do you measure success? I think that needs to be debated and spoken about. Moreover, I mean, like Malar stated earlier, when I also started Mark Your Presence, it wasn't started as an organization. It started as a small movement between a couple of friends to help people. That in turn became a movement and then an organization. It was something that happened in due course of time. So I think that is very, very important to understand when we're measuring success. And the success of any organization, if it's measured by what sort of coverage they get and what sort of media attention they get, then you're never going to reach the place that you have to. I think you got to measure it by the amount of work that you've done towards society and what impact you've created. Then you will be good. And of course, expectations. I think that's the key most important when you're either a founder of an organization or working in any realm or any sort of organization, that don't expect too much from people. Try to do it yourself first. Of course, being a leader, you need to be empathetic. You need to be able to control people. You need to be able to get people together. But try to keep as less expectations from people as possible. Life will be very, very easy, especially if you started something. And for every person out there that is listening, start something. It doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how large it is. Start and reach out to us. We as an organization have a student cell. We try to address student issues also. We try to solve them also. We are here for you. Some of us, Malar will also agree, some of us as young social entrepreneurs, so as we call ourselves, or change makers that we like to be called, are there for you. I mean, we faced these situations in the past. We've been out there for 3 years struggling. There have been times we have not even got seminars in schools and colleges and going on to be panelists and guests there. So all of us have gone through this large journey wherein we faced ups and downs. And I would probably have a bias when you talk about success and failure because I've been a national level athlete. So I have faced success and failure throughout my life in terms of being an athlete. So I am able to handle these situations in life in a better way. So if you're young right now, start some sport, be part of something that is bigger, that trains you to probably handle situations towards the end. So I think being a leader and being somebody that looks up to somebody and gets inspired is something that is required. And yeah, that's what I would like to conclude on by saying.
I think it's so important to, have your parameters of success set the right way. And once you do that, expectations, I think automatically, you just want to be better than what you were yesterday.
Because you are alone. When you start an organization, people see 15 people behind you, 30 people behind you. But when you're starting your own startup or an organization, you are alone. You got to get people together. I mean, Malar will go and highlight about how we got people for the cleanup. I mean, at the end, when the dependency increases, it becomes really difficult. Similar way, it's very difficult to be a principal of a particular college. The title seems very easy to sound or something of that sort, but managing anything becomes a task. And I think teachers do an excellent job doing that every day in school. So I think it's all about how you manage your time and how you look at things. But a note that I would say is what I said earlier in the opening note, that whenever you hit success, make sure you give it to your team, because it wouldn't be possible without your friends and your family at the end of the day. You have to hustle, that's correct. But it is because of them that you've been able to manage it. So always, whether it is my 15,000 registrations or it is my success on getting accommodation for medical students or running a successful book drives to try and meet the demand in the slums for giving them books, it is all to my team and my family, because without them, all these things would not be possible in the first place. So be grateful for where you are in general and always dedicated to the team. And if you fail, I mean, society has put this norm that if you fail, you haven't learned, or if you failed, you failed, you've got a drop here, you've got this, you've not done too well. But I think you learn every time you fail. And I think a lot of authors, a lot of people have extensively spoken about this, that you always fail, but you always learn when you fail. And I think that should be something that everybody takes along, because there are some campaigns that do good and some don't, but a leader always has to take responsibility. And that's what I think all of us have been doing. And that's the message I would want to keep.
True. Absolutely. I think these are some well put out words. And, as they always say, you never lose, you either win or you learn. And I would personally say that you actually learn even when you win. So the learning never stops, and it's such an integral part of our life. But thank you so much for that answer, Chaitanya. I'm pretty sure it's cleared a lot of misconceptions about success and the way it is perceived in today's time. My next question is going to be to Malhar. Malhar, I'm pretty sure, like as Chaitanya said, you've seen a lot of ups and downs in your career as well. In the journey that you've had when it comes to the beach drive, I feel how important is it to actually rise up, every time you see a downfall. I'm just giving a very vague example. For instance, it could be as simple as you've cleaned one part of the beach today. You come tomorrow and you see the same part littered like anything. But again, you are very frustrated in your mind where you don't, you're so angry that you know what, I just cleaned this entire thing yesterday, it's become dirty again. And I have to do it all over again. How important is it to actually have that winner's mindset that no matter what happens, I'm going to get up and try again?
I think Nishal, I'm the right person, to talk about failures. Basically, I'm very afraid to share this because Ashwin is on the panel. When I started with the cleanup drives, I was pursuing chartered accountancy. I cleared my CPT. I cleared my first group of IPCC. But then I came to a point where I had to really pick my academics or my cleanup drives. I couldn't do both at the same time. So I quit CA. I took some time off. I was doing my cleanup drives. Then after 2 years, I started pursuing LLB, and now I've realized I cannot even complete that. I'm planning to quit that as well. I did my graduation though in BCom, but I secured 46%. So if you see in the societal norms, I am a failure. But failure is very subjective. Failure and success. For me, success means doing something what you love and your work impacting the society in a positive manner. So I think I am successful because I was fortunate enough to understand what my passion was when I was 19 and working towards it. And I think the work that I'm doing is definitely impacting certain lives across the globe. So there's this understanding, like we need to rightly talk about what success means. For somebody, success could be making millions of dollars. For somebody, it could be clearing some exam. So it's very subjective in nature. And like you rightly said that the beach, if you clean it today, tomorrow if you go back, the high tide gets all the waste back to the beach. So I believe for success there are three things that you need to have, like hard work, consistency, and the third most important thing is patience. I see a lot of young people who are hardworking and consistent in their efforts, but the thing that they lack is patience. Like everybody wants just quick results. We do something, do din mein saaf hona chahiye beach, or I'm studying. It's, for example, if I study in like 3 days, I should be able to crack some exam. It does not happen that way. It really does not happen that way. You need to put certain amount of efforts over a period of time into something, and that is when you will achieve the desired result that you want. So this is something we really need to consider.
Absolutely. And I think you've perhaps given a very right definition about how things should be. And I want to take the same question to actually Ashwini sir as well. I want to have your opinion on this as well because you've been training people from different courses. You know the kind of hard work that CA requires, or courses like CFA require. Malhar rightly said that, it's so important. After a point, he had to actually choose between the two of them. So it's so difficult. It's so mentally draining at the same point as well. We've always seen students give up after a point, like they just want to get rid of the course because they feel that I think I don't have the IQ, I'm not you know I'm not that well enough to actually do this particular course, I don't feel I have what it takes to actually do this course. How, again, the same mentality when you talk about academics, how important is it to actually have, I mean, we've seen like after a couple of unsuccessful attempts in CA, people just tend to leave it off because yes, it's a very low phase. Let's be honest. We hit rock bottom. That is the truth. But how do you again get up from it? What's like the secret recipe to actually get up from this phase that actually knocks you down?
So it's a very broad question, actually. So I'll just share a little bit of my experience. So always been a good student, and CA Inter happened. CA Inter, I got a rank, and after that, when I applied through sources to all the big four auditing accounting firms, and none of them called me for an interview. So that was my first failure that I tasted. And then at that point of time, I was extraordinarily uh, angry, actually, because it was not my fault. I got a rank. I applied to all the big fours through good connects who were working in the organization. If I would have been discarded after an interview, I would have been okay, because then I can blame myself that, okay, I was not well prepared and probably not well spoken, or whatever be the issue, there's something that I need to work on and I'll do that. But the problem was that it was not my fault. And I was extremely angry at that. And so that was the first failure actually I tasted in my life. And but moving forward, I don't know if the kids have seen the Steve Jobs Stanford speech, 2005 or 2008, I'm not sure, but you have to, because you can only connect the dots backwards and not forward. So moving forward, I realized that it's great it did not happen, because because it was not Big Four and that kind of pressure was not there in terms of work, I was able to study. I was able to participate in all the college events, and I was able to study well. I started teaching. I started my classes on the dining table in my house. So and that was one of the that was the starting phase of my career. So it worked very well. And there's another failure I tasted, that was in CA campus placement. So I was not shortlisted by Macquarie. There was a bank, Australian bank, that was coming up, and again it happened that, because the bank was not had not shortlisted me, although my profile was absolutely apt for finance. But it was great because the profile they were offering at the Gurgaon office was not something that I wanted to take up. So because they did not shortlist me, I did not get there. I rather got into Kane India. I had amazing bosses. I learned amazing amount of Excel. I'm doing consulting in budgeting, forecasting, automation for companies, and MIS and all of that. So it again is playing a role in my career today. So you have to connect the dots backward. But what happened is that even though I was not called for the interview at the Big Four, I did not give up. I worked double harder, triple harder. How dare these people not call me? It's gonna be they are gonna regret in future that why did they not hire me? Because I would have been an asset to the company. So even if today, if say for example, if I take an interview for a job and if somebody does not hire me, it's totally their loss. So that level of confidence that has to be built over time through exceptional level of hard work. So of course it's not going to be easy, because when you're tasting that failure, and the problem with failure is with when I come to the dealing aspect of that, there's too much of an issue with respect to lack of patience, which Malhar just mentioned about. Lack of patience is major problem. That is because the moment a kid is feeling hungry, they'll immediately do a Swiggy, and they'll book Uber and Ola together, and whichever is coming late, they'll cancel the other one. So understand the amount of patience that has gone down, because I know we have been picking up a dictionary, turning through the pages, looking up for a word, but today the kids are not doing that. But you cannot expect that similar immediate response when you're looking at your career, when you're looking at learning. You can't just start a chapter in 5 minutes, my chapter is done. The kids get bored so easily. So that is not possible. You cannot have that Swiggy, Ola, Uber kind of stuff for your career, of your learning process. So that is not going to happen in a day. That is one. The second problem that is happening with the kids is too much of misguidance that is there. Misguidance in terms that even the education industry, yesterday or day before yesterday, Kunal from Cred actually tweeted about it. And there's a lot that is being talked about White Hat Junior and Baiju and all of that. So when you look at this, the way, and even there was somebody who commented about Amitabh Bachchan actually talking about Vedantu, putting it into a conversation in one of his episodes a couple of days back. That is actually very you're kind of putting it in the conversation and presenting it to the gullible parents across the country who actually give so much of importance to education. Our country, India, has always been given so much importance to education from ages. Since people would not be able to speak languages in different countries, we have been having Gurukul system in our country. So that has been a problem. So that misguidance is a little too much, because you have to understand it's not a business, it has to be a profession when you're teaching. Because I know I have kids, and I know how many kids I train, and to go about it. The third problem that happens is online comparison. The problem with online comparison is that I mentioned in somewhere that earlier what it used to be was that only in a wedding function people would compare that, okay, this person spent this much, this is the kind of function he's done. But now what is happening is 24/7 people are comparing with each other, because social media is there. Who's holidaying where, who's taking which bag, which purse, and God knows what. So the comparison has become a 24/7 job, not only for the kids, but for the parents. That's the reason, because of this, one of the panelists just mentioned about the society, how society treats failure. I actually posted a lecture series on parents, that, as a message from a teacher to the parents, that, how you people are not at times, playing a very, not negative, I would say, but a very wrong, you making mistakes with the kids today. So that is one problem. Another issue that kids have is with the amount of too much of distractions they have, because we did not have WhatsApp during college. It started just post college. WhatsApp started. That time people used to do the BlackBerry Messenger, BBM, and all they used to do. So the number of distractions is too many. But again, let me tell you, I've also been traveling to Himalayas. I was there for 10 days over there, and Kausani and all the places, and I was talking to people right through my trip. And I like solo trips and all. So I was talking to them, and they also have a lot of distractions, but their distractions is relatively more productive. Walking 7 kilometers from their home, school to home and back. And on the way, they'll be passing the number of villages and meeting and talking to people, and physically they are more fit and all of that. And the other thing is that people need to, again, so people need to experience from traveling. People say that I'm traveling and gaining experience. Going to 5 stars and staying at swanky hotels and all is not going to add any experience to that. And the other thing is that I was telling you that was because of that superficial knowledge students have about multiple things, because of having access to so much of resources, and being so having access to so many people around, they get very overconfident because the depth is lacking very, very significantly. And the other thing, when you're talking about the CA pass rates and all, you have to understand that anything worth having is going to be very difficult. So the best college to get in is going to be very difficult to get in. But for something worth having, you have to work very, very hard, very significantly hard. And it's not about IQ. You cannot say that just because my IQ is low or my IQ is high, therefore this is happening. There's a lot of hard work. And especially when I talk about chartered accountancy or any of the courses you can talk about, it requires a lot of hard work. You don't want to sit for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours a day to study without touching your phone. You want to use your phone every 20 minutes. You don't have that level of focus. And you cannot blame that, I'm not meant for this or I'm not meant for that. Because anything worth having, you have to study. You have to work hard. Study would not, I'm not talking about degree per se. Studying means learning. But that is not there. And how many kids that would probably pick up an accounts book without an exam coming up? Just tell me the number of kids who would be picking up a management book or a strategy book if there is no exam coming up. So the examination is required in order to bring that level of seriousness and discipline for the kids. That's what I've seen. So when you're talking about the failure being a step to success, of course, you'll have to work towards it. And how do you do that? The one and the most important answer I can give you is the Gita. You have to start reading the Gita. All self-help books, Man's Search for Meaning, Peaks and Valleys, you name it. And I've read most of the, I cannot say that I've not even read anything actually that way. But when you talk about these books, everything is sourced from the Gita. So it's after a lot of effort, actually, I found the best possible version of English translation that I'm reading, that I'm rereading. Actually, I'm reading it for the second time. So when Akash was talking about the happiness and success together. So he was giving an example of watch, which is very, very relevant. That when you're going for a movie, you're happy for 3 hours. When you're sitting for a dinner, you're happy for an hour and a half. And that too, people want to post again and check in and this and that to tell 20 other people that you have having a Maggie or a 5 star and how happening your life is. But the problem is that you're going to be 24/7 happy if you're competent, because you have that level of confidence in yourself. You have that level of security for yourself. You don't need to worry about impressing anybody else. If you've studied the Maslow's hierarchy, you'll be able to understand. Facebook takes care of the social media, takes care of your self-actualization need. So once you understand that aspect, the happiness, 24/7 happiness from inside is going to be where you're competent. And when when Akash was talking about, the result. So that is karm kalo far ki ichha mat karo. That's the whole idea, the whole premise of Karm Yoga Gita. So that, whether you made $1,000,000 or whether you have a loss and you're still getting back home, that is when I'm competent. I know that I can start my life today. I know that I can start my life from scratch in any city, any town across the world. And I can start a very good lifestyle ever in my life. So it's obviously so that reading of the Gita is very important, and for that you need to work on yourself. So once you start working so hard on yourself, and you don't have to, again, there's a problem that the moment I say working hard, students have a problem. Labor is not equal to sorrow. Labor is another word and sorrow is another word. When you're working, when you're getting competent, when you're working on yourself, there's another level of happiness, there's another level of security that you get. So in order to tackle failures, all you need to do is you need to invest in yourself. You need to work really hard on yourself. That if a client does not come to me or does not go forward with our consulting firm, it's their loss. I know it's their loss because I know the kind of work we are doing and the kind of insights we have. So you have to be competent in such a way that if something does not happen, it's their loss. In fact, 238, chapter 2, verse 38 of the Gita, if you read, you'll understand that so Krishna is telling Arjun that if you win the war, you'll be alive, you'll be there, you would have achieved victory, and you'd be on earth enjoying the glories of that. Even if you lose, you will be climbing up a higher realm because you would have learned from that. And as a Kshatriya, when you're fighting for the right cause, you're going to be moving closer to moksha. So the idea is that even if you're losing, you're at least leveling up. So there is no downside in either losing or winning as long as you're doing your karma. chapter 2 verse 38. So it's very important verse of that particular chapter. So this is so in order to tackle failures, you need to get out of this entire society comparison, social media, and all of that. Make sure you kids watch Social Dilemma. If you haven't yet watched the documentary movie on Netflix, make sure you watch that. It's an absolute must. Yeah.
A lot of, I think it's been a very elaborative answer. I think a lot of positives to take from this. I think what you said was absolutely true. It also boils down to actually consuming the right kind of content. We just feel that today's day and age, the youth is all about posting for the gram, as they say, and it's not the real world. So I actually have watched Social Dilemma. It's one of the most intriguing set of pieces that you would want to watch.
Nishchal, it's hashtag just for the gram.
Yeah, hashtag just for the gram.
I
Right.
don't know what all these
This guy
people
knows it
do.
better. But yeah, it's so true. And I'm really glad that we're actually able to have this kind of a conversation. Wouldn't happen at any other platform. I feel that this pandemic has done a lot of negatives to us, but it also brought out these positives in a very good way. These were my questions. These are the questions that I had prepared for you guys. We're actually streaming this live on YouTube. So we'll just take a few of the
Can I
audience
add
questions.
something to
Sure,
what
sure.
Sir
Please,
said?
please, Chaitanya.
Since you spoke about the Gita, I think it is absolutely essential for every person to read that. But what is very, very interesting is Gita Rahasya, which is written by Lokmanya Tilak, which is an absolute masterpiece when it comes to the Gita, because every verse has been explained by him, giving an interpretation of that of even what Socrates and Plato did at their own time. Gita is extremely important for every individual to do. And in fact, I have it right here, the big 500-page book that gives you everything that you need. But just to add on, wonderful. Look,
There we go.
all of us have it. But to add on, a book that people need to read to understand what democracy is all about and what phases it goes through throughout the journey is The Republic by Plato. It will give you an analysis as to how important history is and how relevant history is. That is more important, of what democracy was, because they were the fundamental pillars in deciding what democracy would be. And if you read what Plato has written so many years ago, you will be shocked to be amazed about how society changes and how democracy evolves and how it leads to the good wills, the bad wills, and how society is, how people are, how politicians are. Everything can be learned. I would say that a school or college should embed this into the syllabus because it teaches you how society and governance is, and which is extremely important. Like, all of us could stay away from politics and say that it is not needed. But at the end of the day, everything has politics, whether it is your college, whether it is your school, whether it is your friend circle or an organization that you've started. So it's time all of us embrace it. And because it's part of every person. Man is a political animal. And I think everybody should, the sooner anybody understands and accepts that, it is better for all of us to live in a better society. So that's my add-on to what Sir said.
It's a brilliant one, though. We're getting to learn so much today. I myself, I was really excited for this conclave, and it actually was, played in front of me because I said that I want to be a part of. Because we always see most of the conclaves that we have, even at college festivals, is people from the acting world, people from probably social media influencers. But it's very rare that you have these. It's a very varied set that we have today, varied set of panelists. But I think perhaps the most knowledgeable one. So thank you to the four of you for actually being such great panelists, and I hope that our audience is really, really taking a lot from this conclave. If our panelists agree to this, can we just move on to the audience questions, because they have a lot in store for this as well. So they've asked a few questions that I'm just going to shoot to you guys. We're streaming this live on YouTube, by the way, and I hope that our audience is enjoying it as much as we are here on Zoom. So our first question is for you, Ashwini sir. It is, how do you overcome the fear concerning entrance exams?
Actually, now I don't think about it because it's been so much of practice taking the number of exams. So I don't know what to say. But there's this lecture I actually posted, how to be lucky. And so, so when you're taking up an exam, basically 10 days before the exam, I am not eating out. I don't want to fall ill. I don't want to take any kind of chances. I'm getting up exactly at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. So normally also I get up by 6 latest, try to get up by 4, 5. But before the exam, because the exams generally are going to be starting at 9 a.m. or something, and I have on the exam day, I got to get up at 6. Now, the point is on the exam day, my body clock is already adjusted to the level that I need to be the most productive during the exam hours. I'm not eating out, so there is no probability that I'm going to be, most probably, I'll not be falling ill. Now, what the students don't understand is that in order to be lucky, there is a lot that is going behind it. So when you're prepared very well, when you've understood things conceptually, you're understanding. Like today, I know that even 10 years back or 12 years back, whatever physics we used to study with convex mirrors, concave mirrors, I use those examples while teaching finance. Class 7 unitary method I used to prove multiple formulas in finance. So I know that I'll be able to prove any formula in the exams during the exam. So I don't have to be worried so much. So once if your concepts are clear, you're thoroughly prepared, and you're doing all these things to have that exam day as your lucky day. If you're well prepared, you'll be confident. If you're not eating out, you'll not be falling ill. Your body clock is adjusted, you'll not be having a headache on the exam day. So you have to do the series of these things in order to not be scared on the exam day. So it's not just your studies. There's a lot that goes on in terms of discipline, in terms of, I see kids today who say that 6 hours ka exam, I can't sit at a stretch for 6 hours. My concentration is not that high, or I get tired. How can you say you get tired in just 6 hours? You don't have the right to say. That means you have not been working, pushing your limits to the level, before the exam, because we have studied for 12 hours, 14 hours a day as well before the exam time. And after the exam, again, it's a 1 month, 2 month nonsense. And then again, you're back to studying.
Right, absolutely. I think you have to see what works best for you and adjust things the right way. Uh, Also, I think it's a repetitive question, but how do you deal with the failure of not clearing an entrance exam? Perhaps when the result hasn't gone your way and you just don't know what to do after that because you've put in so much of your effort, probably because of whatever reasons you haven't cleared the exam. What next? How do you deal with that phase? I'm pretty sure like the person who's asked this meant this only. So what's the answer to this?
Fortunately, I've never faced a situation personally, but being with the students, yesterday the FRM results were out, and there are kids who clear, there are kids who do not pass. So you have to understand something that when you're in school and there is a batch of 50 students in a classroom, 49 pass, and it's probably one student who does not make it to the next level. But the moment you talk about professional exams, out of 100 in CA final, for example, 15 will pass and 85 will fail. When you're talking about a CFA or an FRM exam, the pass rates are around 40%, 35 to 40% or so. So 60 will fail. There is no doubt about it. So you have to, one, understand and accept that fact that you're taking professional exams and it's more about a percentile. If it's more about the percentile, that means you need to level up and you need to work harder. So for this, there's something called peaks and valleys. I don't know if you've read Dr. Spencer Johnson, an outstanding book. An outstanding book, one of the most important life lessons. The moment somebody talks about success and failure, you need to read peaks and valleys. So when yourself in the valley will determine how much of a peak you're going to get in the next one. So if you have not cleared your exam in the first go, maybe it is because you'll be able to clear your concepts or get such an amazing level of insight into the subject and reread and read books related to it. For example, Against the Gods, if you're too much into quantitative finance and all, and then the backlog or the that because you've been left behind for, let's say, a 6 months time period, you'll be able to make up that the moment you land up, get into your workspace and all. You'll be able to apply those things better because your knowledge will be better. Now it is up to you how you use your valleys. So if you waste your time in the valleys, you're not going to be getting to that peak. If you use your valleys so well so that you're able to climb a higher peak and you're able to stay at that peak for a longer duration, because life is going to be peaks and valleys continuously. So you will have to determine how you want to take the valley. And again, as I told you, you have to just do not care about what people around are saying. You have to work so hard that it doesn't matter what they say, because you'll be able to prove them wrong if you're working hard. Don't try to fool yourself, at least.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. So this was the question that was for Ashwini sir. Let's move on. We've got a lot of questions that we still have. For Malhar, this one's for you, Malhar. Why do you think India lacks so much in cleanliness, unlike many other countries? Wow. So Malhar,
I think it's basically not inculcated into a formal education. Now, for example, when I was back in school, we had a subject called EVS, Environmental Studies, and which was basically a graded subject. So the only criteria was you had to submit a 20 pages project, just copy paste it, and you'll be passed. So that is how important environment is for us and in our nation. So I think that's the fundamental problem. I think when you talk about environment, there needs to be experiential learning. Now, what basically we do is we have a lot of schools coming for the cleanup drives. Kids as young as 5 years old, 6 years old. So for a fact, we know that these kids are not very effective in terms of cleaning the beach. But we also understand that when these kids come for the cleanup drives and they see the amount of trash on the beaches, they start questioning themselves and start questioning us that how does this happen? For example, if they find a polythene bag on the beach, they will ask us, how does this polythene bag land on the beach? So the next time their parents go to the market and they're trying to use a polythene bag or ask for a polythene bag, these are the same kids that really stop us from using them. So it's basically we have to create more eco warriors, more change makers, and it's basically change the mindset, mold their minds when they are young. For example, it's very easier for us to change the mindset of a person who's 20-year-old than a person who's 40-year-old. So basically, like Chaitanya said, we are a young country and the young people are the future for this country. And as young people, we need to really understand what the responsibilities are. It needs to be inculcated into our formal education. That's the most important thing. Second thing, I've seen a lot of parents, asking their kids not to go for the cleanup drives because it is dirty, it's not safe, and all those reasons. I think this really needs to stop. Let them be more adventurous. Let them take the risk. Zara se kya hoga na, they might fall sick or something of that sort, but let them try out something new let them get out of their box and do something. So this is something very important. Even after the pandemic, when we thought of resuming the cleanup drive, they resumed in July. So when I thought of doing the cleanup drives, my family told me that you shouldn't go for the cleanup drive, and let your team go and do the cleanup drive. And I simply told them, if I am the leader of a community, I should lead by example. I cannot just sit at home and order my team to go and do the cleanup drive. That's where leadership comes. You do something and ask your team to follow it. It's always leading by example, and that is something that we need to really do.
Right, very, very well put into words. I feel it's the formal education part really has to be inculcated in our curriculum. And I'm pretty sure with our teachers listening to this, there will be a reform that will come very, very soon. Even in the schools, because I feel that the change has to start from there for us to actually get into it. And as you very rightly said, if a 5, 6 year old will see a polythene bag for the first time on the beach and will start wondering where did this come from, I think that in itself is a very good start. So,
and I really, Nishal, I really hope that the Students' Council and the students would really join us someday at the cleanup drive, doing their bit for the environment.
I promise you, buddy. I promise you 100%. We're going to put this word in the council as well. It's just that, in the council, we also have a lot of people who stay out, who are outstation students who are not from Mumbai. But at least the ones who are here, we'll make sure that, we'll connect with you and we can be a part of it on any of the weekends. At least I would personally love to be a part of this because I just feel that it's our responsibility. Because if I go on the beach every day in the morning, it's also my responsibility to make sure that it's clean. So, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Malal. Thank you. Up next, my question is to Akash. Yes, Akash, this one's for you. This person has written this question for you. What made you start veganism? And, what are the sustainable ways where you can practice veganism in India? Because we really see that it's blown up like anything, veganism, this entire concept. And we also see that there are people who are using it as a fad to get into certain things. But like, what made you start veganism?
For me, it was very simple that in points, I was traveling first. While traveling, I fall in love with nature. And then while traveling, I realized that, hey, how we all are traveling, but there's so much plastic trash all around. And obviously when I'm traveling, I'm not really just in a city. I'm going to the best of the best place possible in the country or to the other countries. And I was like, hey, these are the best places, like the most beautiful places around the world. And how is it that they are so dirty? So this got me thinking. I was like, okay, let me just learn a little more about plastic. Plastic took me to knowing about a thing called climate change. I'm like, oh, there's a thing exists. I was like, okay. Then I thought, okay, I want to take steps into it. What all can I do to be a part of the solution? I didn't know that how long the journey will go, how big it will become. I was like, hey, I just want to do things I can do on my own, just by searching Google or doing things. That's how the journey started. I did not know that not only that the trash we see out there, that's the trash. I wasn't aware at all about that what I'm eating is also a part of the trash. I'm also harming the nature by just not throwing the plastic, but by doing other things as well. And so climate change, majorly what greenhouse effect, right? How greenhouse gases creates an effect which is causing the warmer temperature on the whole earth. And how it works, simply like, earth is like kind of a ball. And then how can I show you? Okay, let's say for example, this cup is earth. We can't see, but there's a layer around it, right? That layer is that layer is greenhouse gases. It's formed by gases called greenhouse gases. One of the gas for sure, it's called ozone. You have heard back in 2005 that there's an ozone layer, there's a hole in it, and that kind of thing. So similarly, these other gases revolves around, and they are carbon dioxide or methane and other water vapors and other things. So now, to stop climate change, all we have to do one very simple thing: that can we stop emitting carbon and methane and other greenhouse gases on an unprecedented rate. That's it. Very simple. Now, what is difficult here? To understand where does these gases comes from. You have to study that, and you have to understand what can you do to cut down your carbon footprints, cut down your methane footprints, and different things. That's the simple thing I wanted to do. And then I realized everything is carbon. Everything is carbon. Your clothes, carbon. Your phone, carbon. Your watch, carbon. Everything you have is carbon. Even we are breathing out carbon. But parallelly, methane, one molecule of methane is equals to 28 molecules of carbon dioxide. That's how bad it is. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Parallelly, I am trying to cutting down my carbon footprints, let's say by not taking flights, by not buying so many clothes, or by not buying single-use plastic bottles, or by not owning a vehicle which consumes fossil fuel and a lot of other things, right? And by not using a lot of tech devices and everything. But what can I do for methane as well? And that's when I learned about it, that methane majorly comes from food, right? And I watched a documentary by one of my really good friend called Cowspiracy. So whosoever here want to learn either about climate change, either about veganism or sustainability or any of these kind of similar topics, I would warmly request them to watch this documentary called Cowspiracy. And that's when I was like, okay, the best thing I can do, the most powerful thing I can do to contribute or to be the part of the solution team for climate change is to go vegan. That's when I thought that I want to go vegan. And also veganism is not really just not eating let's say animal products or animal byproducts, or let's say the other side is saying going plant-based. It's also about what do you wear. Like the clothes you're wearing, have they been tested on animals, or do they consume any milk solid or any kind of product in them, or not only milk, do they have any relation to any other animal, fur or whatever, skin, leather, whatever, wool, whatever you're using. So you have to be very clear about that as well. So it's not only about what you're eating. Veganism is a lifestyle. So not only that, okay, I eat plant-based food and I'm a vegan. No, you're not. You are having a vegan diet to be on the like clear page. So you can think about it very well clearly. Now, the reason why do people go vegan? There are three reasons. One is for, let's say, nature, because of climate change. That's the reason I went for. Another one is animal cruelty, because people feel like attached and caring about animals and they don't want them to be hurt. That's the reason they go. Third one is for diet purpose. Let's say a doctor or some nutrition has suggested them for a better health or for some kind of goals related to your health, you should go vegan. So these are the reasons people go vegan. This is my reason why I went vegan, because of climate change, methane, carbon footprints. It's really like big out there in the atmosphere. That's the reason. Now, if in case you go vegan, how can you sustain it? It's pretty easy. For me, it's pretty easy. For example, how does veganism work practically doing in life? It's two-way. My way is I have been a vegetarian. So I just take out my vegan food out of the vegetarian diet. Dal, chawal, roti, sabzi, and all of these kind of things, they are vegan, right? Just not putting ghee into it. And my chapati is vegan. Just not putting, let's say, ghee into my dal, putting oil, it's again vegan. So it's very simple. One is this. Another one, let's say there are times when you can't really just go without dairy products, because kind of like milk is kind of the base. A lot of time we use as the liquid in some or the other way to make some kind of dishes. There are 7 different alternatives for one milk we are using: almond, coconut, soy, oat, cashew, rice, and one more, like I don't know the name of it, but it has been created recently. So it's like exactly same the cow milk, not only in taste, not only in color, not only in texture, but even the chemical formula exactly comes down to the same level. So that's what I would say. There are like 7 different milks. If you talk about even ghee, curd, or whatever you need, every cream, mayonnaise, cheese, whatever you talk about, every, even okay, you want to eat non-veg, egg, you want to eat meat, you want to eat beef, whatever you want to eat, everything is available in vegan alternatives. They would taste exactly same, they will have the exactly same texture when you're eating it, and they will give you the same protein and vitamins when you're consuming them. So it's available out there. So this is what the outer market, if in case you really want to go vegan. But again, as I said, I am this kind of a guy who's taking out my vegan diet out of the vegetarian diet. But if in case you are a non-vegetarian and you don't want to lose on the things you have been eating and still you want to be vegan, plant-based, so there are all the kind of options available. What I would say, if in case you want to start your journey and see that can you be vegan, I'm not asking you should be, it's your choice. If you want to make it, good for you. Watch this documentary called Cowspiracy. This will give you a very solid inspiration, because if you're inspired now, you don't need my knowledge, you just need the inspiration. If you're inspired enough, you'll find your own ways, you'll make your own recipes, right? And you'll make it happen for yourself. So watch this documentary called Cowspiracy, and this will help you. And if in case not, feel free to contact me anywhere, wherever I am available, and I'll be more than happy to talk you out of it.
Thank you so much, Akash. I think that is the only reason why sattvic food is also being given so much importance in today's time. And so there's this premier health expert of India, Luke Coutinho. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. He's someone I really follow and I really look up to. I think the kind of content that he sets out when it comes to holistic health is something that is so helpful. So I'm pretty sure, like the way you've explained sustainability, including veganism, is something for the audience to take. So just make sure that if you want to get into it, you know the right facts, and then you get into it. Just don't get into it because your peers are forcing you to, or whatever it is, right? So make sure that you've got proper knowledge about it. In case you've got any doubts, Akash is always there to help you, as he said. Just hit him up.
One more thing I can add to
Sure.
it, understand. So if you're a vegetarian, non-vegetarian, it's very simple. Your family was vegetarian, so you decided to go vegetarian. Your family was non-vegetarian, you decided to go non-vegetarian. Or let's say the other people around you are vegetarians or non-vegetarian. Let's say I'm a vegetarian from family, but if in case this happens that I'm out with my friends, they are non-vegetarian, I decide I want to try it. So what happens in most of these situations, we have an atmosphere and people around us who make us comfortable for this situation, and we go ahead. But veganism doesn't play the same game. Veganism is all about your brain. Plant-based diet, it's all about your brain, and lifestyle is all about your brain. That you choose, you read, you study, you understand, and then you make an informed call. With non-veg, you don't sit on a laptop and read about it and then make an informed call. Very few people make an informed call because of, let's say, health issues or something like that, that I want to achieve a goal, I'm into sports or athlete, I want to achieve some goals, and that's why I want to do it. Veganism is more about you studied about the earth or about the harm to other animals or something like that, and then you take a call. So you need to understand veganism is more of an intellectual call, and wherein vegetarian and non-vegetarian is more about the taste buds or achieving your personal goals. So do you want to live for yourself or for the environment, for the others? That's what will define whether can you really make it for veganism or not.
True, absolutely. I feel it is another way of actually living a selfless life again. When you think of the earth more, the animals more than yourself.
Right. That's what Chaitanya and Malar are doing, right?
Right.
You don't need to go out there clean the beach. They live in a house that's clean, right?
Correct.
Chetan lives in a house in a space which is very clean. And he is voting, his family is voting, that's fine. That's
Right.
what these both people are doing. They go out and live for others. They put in effort for making a right space for everyone, that why voting will really help everyone holistically, the whole world, not only India, not only your society. And Malad does the same thing. He don't go to the beach in the evening with his mom. Hey, I've cleaned it. Let's just walk around. He might not even visit there to enjoy it. He just go clean it, come back, and he might enjoy doing something else. That veganism is also the same thing. If you're becoming a vegan, you might not be the primary thing you're happy about. Oh, I get to eat amazing food. The primary thing you'll be happy is from inside, that I take a step every day, which is the bigger picture, that okay, I'm saving earth somewhere, or I'm saving so many animals by not consuming this. So understand, vegetarian and non-vegetarian is a kind of a selfish thing, where you do it for the taste purpose, right? But if you can leave both of these and go for vegetarian, that's what Malar and Chaitanya does. That they can watch a movie, they can go out with the friends, they can have a party, but they let the thing go out there and do this work. So it's the same kind of a thing.
Brilliant comparison, I must say. That's a very well thought of comparison as well. Once again, to all the people who want to get into it but do not have proper knowledge, just be well informed, as Akash rightly said. And if there's anything that you are doubtful about, just make sure that you hit him up and talk to him about it. I'm pretty sure he's going to guide you the right way. So thank you so much for that answer, Akash. Chaitanya, coming up to you. We've got one last question from the audience, and I'm actually inculcating a part of my question also into this. When you talk about being selfless for the team that you lead, I remember this interview of MS Dhoni that I actually saw probably last year. It was the reimagined interview, as he said that whenever we play a tournament, it's a team sport, and when I go to lift the trophy, that's 15 minutes of overexposure for me, because it's unfair that the whole team is playing the sport and the captain is going and lifting the trophy on the team's behalf. So that's 15 seconds of overexposure, and that is why when everybody comes in, the entire team comes in, I go towards the side and let the others enjoy it because I've had my part. So does it actually imply into the entrepreneurship space also, when you are the leader of the team, the world knows you. Of course, they know your team as well, but you are the face of the organization. People know you. So do you think it's actually important to credit the later half of the success to the people that you're working with? Because you've had your share, you've worked hard for it and you've had your share. People have known you, people have complimented you, but it's important for the team to actually enjoy it more than yourself.
Absolutely. I think when I measure success, I look at these 15,000 odd people going out to vote and actually making an informed choice. So that is enough for me. Hence, whenever success comes in the way that it does, I always make sure that on every platform that I compliment my team, because it wouldn't be possible without them. Now, that is the only way I could compliment my team, because everybody that works in Marquee Presence does it voluntarily, does it because they feel for the cause, because they feel for what's happening. So it's important for us as leaders of the organization to make sure that we compliment them at every step that we go, because vision, of course, is important, but if it's not directed in the correct way, it would never be possible for us to do it. And after all, it is my friends from my school and my college that compliment me every now and then and tell me what I'm doing is amazing. And that's what keeps me going, because there is no monetary gain in this. This is for society. Nobody earns out of this cause. So it's all about how your friends react and how they help you when they talk about it. So if it's one message that I've probably dropped into my friends saying, hi, how are you? They've dropped by saying, I love the work that you're doing and it is great. Keep going. We need more people like you. That message is enough to fuel me for another 7-8 days to do more. And I think that's what we need to do as young people. We need to go out there and try and create change, because as I said, India is a young country, but an old nation. If we don't come out and do what is required, we need to be there. And at least for our democracy to strengthen and to become that of way better than what it is currently, we need young people to actively participate. That's why I say the first thing we should do is vote. And I say it is difficult. It is suddenly difficult when you go to somebody and say, go out and vote in an election. That's why I say start voting on small things on your dining table. Start discussing these things. And those discussions will take you a long way to probably build something more in society. And to come back to your question, as I earlier said, I always look up to Lokmanya Tilak, and I always look up to that of Kalam, and I quote them at every point of time. I mean, when Lokmanya Tilak wrote that of Gita Rahasya, he said, I am merely a communicator. I am merely writing what the saints have said. Look at the modesty what people had in those days. And I try to replicate that. That's why I'm extremely accessible. As a person, my numbers are available on that of our handles. One can call, ask, debate, talk, and I'm available. Of course, if I do have exams, because I'm a law student, I have to make sure I manage my time well. But otherwise, I'm always there. And I think I've learned how to balance that of life because of my athletic background, because we wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and that is what is required when you're either studying or whether you're trying to hustle when it comes to your organization. So it all complements, and nothing would have been ever been possible without all my friends that have participated and helped me, including Malar out there, and including a lot of people from the SVKM Trust as well, because the association has been very kind enough. I've had a lot of seminars and conferences and panel discussions on that one street itself in Villeparle, because 14 years of my life I've been in Jew. So it is very interesting how friends help you without knowing you enough sometimes and compliment you, which builds, the whole fuel to do more. So if a leader is doing something and is successful and does not compliment that of people that have done enough, I wouldn't consider him a leader at all. This is where the demarcation comes. When you go out to vote, you say you're going to vote for a leader. There is a fine line between a leader and a politician, which everybody needs to understand. That's what we do through Mark Your Presence. We give you guides to make you understand the constituencies, the assemblies, and the ward. It's very simple. Everybody that is listening right now, the political eye view of that of Mumbai city is that we have 6 parliamentary constituencies. We have 36 assemblies and 227 wards. And rest is us, we as young people. It's sad that in the last election, we hardly had people stand in the line and go out to vote. And this is our population, all of us that are watching. We are the ones that are first to tweet, first to Instagram, first to ridicule probably, and first to put good stuff on everybody. But we're not there when the country needs us. We're not there when the society needs us. So everybody that is listening, a final note, please go out and vote. It does not matter at this moment who you vote for, because your ideologies and your probably thinking could be whatever it is. But what's important is to access your right, because our constitution gives us this right to either, now the clause is that the constitution gives us the right either to vote or abstain from voting. So nobody could be forced. Hence Nota was implemented. So if you don't want to vote for a candidate, you still go and do what you're supposed to do, because it's a right. That's why it was bought in. But it's debatable whether it is efficient or no. I feel it plays the role of a catalyst for other political parties to understand whether that of the candidate that has been put in the place is good enough or no. So there have been instances in our state itself, in districts like Latur, where a huge amount of people have voted for Nota. And that created a drift between political parties to understand, oh, that we have a candidate, he may not be at par with what we expect, hence people voted against him. So I think it all plays a pivotal role in the larger part of it. But I think success always to the team, and failure always we have to take.
Very, very, very brilliantly put out there. I think these are nuggets of wisdom that I'm getting from the 4 of you, and it's been such an insightful conversation to actually talk about such varied topics. That is why at the start of it I said that we've got a very varied panel from different walks of life today, and the way they've all amalgamated to actually put out the result that we have in front of us, this entire conclave. I'm pretty sure if you watch it over and over again, you still wouldn't get enough of it, because there's so much that you can learn from it about so many different aspects. We spoke about the Gita, we spoke about voting is our right, we spoke about entrance exams, we spoke about the beach cleanup. I think the most is the optimum usage of 1 hour that we had. And I really am very thankful to the 4 of you for actually being a part of this. For me, this has been an eye-opener in a lot of ways. I'm pretty sure this is going to change my perspective towards life and towards a lot of things that I have right now in my life. So thank you so much to the 4 of you for doing this with us. We at Mithibai Students Council are forever thankful and grateful. Thank you for doing this. And we had a lot of fun. Our viewers, I'm pretty sure, had a lot of fun too, because is such a medium. I wish we had this offline. where all of us could just be in front of each other, sitting beside each other. But it's a virtual platform, so it's very difficult to actually gauge what's happening with the audience. But I'm pretty sure to all those of you who are watching us on YouTube live, I hope that you guys have had a very good time too. Thank you so much, Ashwini sir, Malhar, Akash, and Chaitanya. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. But before we end this up, I want to call upon Dr. Papia Dev, who's the convener of the Students' Council, to kindly come and deliver the vote of thanks. Ma'am, over to you.
Good afternoon, all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
To dream by night is to escape your life, but to dream by day is to make it happen. Success is the art of motivating oneself to act towards achieving a goal. In a nutshell, that is what I felt was shared by the speakers of the day. I'm here to propose the vote of thanks. I would like to thank all the young panel members for the day, Mr. Ashwini Bajaj, Mr. Malhar Kalambe, Mr. Akash Ranisan, and Mr. Chaitanya Prabhu for this very, very informative session. Mr. Ashwini Bajaj emphasized that you have to work hard to reach the peak from the valley. Very well said, sir. Mr. Malhar Kalambe believes in youth movement. Mr. Akash chose his guru and went ahead in life. He believes in keeping his life easy. It's so very difficult to keep your life easy. Very, very true. According to Mr. Chaitanya Prabhu, credit of success is to be given to the team and failure is to be taken up by the leader himself. So whichever path you choose, you need to be confident and follow the path. They clearly explained the fact that people at different levels face different challenges, but whether you're an individual contributor, a senior executive, or somewhere maybe in between, there are several skills that you need to master to be successful in life. Like, as it's very rightly said, hard work or learning agility, consistency, and patience. Of course, this would require commitment and the ability to push through the uncomfortable feeling of not being so very good until competency is reached. They also emphasized on the fact that one should set direction, build an inspiring vision, and then innovate. So success is about mapping out where you need to go and then to win it. Also, another important point that was mentioned in this conclave is develop success from failures. Failures are the stepping stone to success. You need to connect the dots backward. This is maybe my take home today. I really love this line. On behalf of Mithibai College, I extend a hearty gratitude to all the guest speakers of the day. I would like to thank everyone who worked hard to make this event a grand success. I thank SVKM for always being so supportive. A special mention to our respected principal, Dr. Krutika Desai, for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best. With a deep sense of appreciation, I thank our vice principals and the teaching staff for always being so very encouraging. A special mention to Dr. Anjali Patkar. Thanks are due to our non-teaching and administrative staff for their contributions. A big thank you to the members of Students' Council for the untiring efforts. So very proud of you, dear students. Thank you, Nischal, for the lovely hosting. Lastly, thanks are due to the entire audience present here who made this session memorable for all of us. Before I leave, a bit of advice to you students. Victory comes from finding opportunities amidst difficulties. And it is through looking at these opportunities in new ways that leaders have always mapped their path. Change your attitude and you will surely gain some altitude. You will love it being up there. Thank you so much. Over to you, Nischal.
Thank you so much, Papia ma'am. That was, there's something about your voice. It's so honey that everything you say goes in without any filter. So thank you for that lovely vote of thanks to everybody who's involved. A huge thank you to the Students' Council for putting this up. It's been a great show. It's actually the first, the whole conclave that I've hosted, the first entire conclave that I've hosted. and it's been the most insightful one. I'm so proud to have done this. And to whoever if you missed it by any chance, it's going to be live on our YouTube channel. So please make sure that you go and check them out, and our Instagram page as well. We are going to be talking about the rest of the 2 days that we have. We have the Thanksgiving Day, and we also have the annual day on the 20th that's coming up. So please make sure that you do not go anywhere and follow Mithibai Students Council on the Instagram and the YouTube channel as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, panelists. I'm going to hit you up if I require any advice, because all four of you from such varied fields, and you guys have done some great job. So thank you, Papia ma'am, thank you, Kritika ma'am, thank you, Anjali ma'am, and to the entire team of Students Council. I said this yesterday also, I'm going to say it again. East or West, Mithibai is the best. Thank you so much, everybody. Before ending, I would request everyone to kindly rise up for the national anthem. Thank you so much, everyone. I request you to please unmute yourself and all of us together at the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Bharat Mata ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you once again, panelists. Thank you, Papia ma'am, Kritika ma'am, Manjari ma'am. It was a pleasure. And this conclave for the first time has been the biggest hit that we could have imagined. We were all so nervous yesterday as to how it was going to go. But I think it's only because of our panelists who've explained every single thing with such intricacy and such detail that we're so inspired. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. And we will see you for our Thanksgiving Day and our annual day that's happening on the 20th. So please do not go anywhere.